first half, obviously that was not your identity.
No, I agree, 100%.
Yeah,
I just, the disappointing part for me is, what you get to this point in time of the season, these games are going to be grind out, games. And I think I mentioned before the game, there's going to be experiences these guys are going to have to go through, quite honestly. And, the disappointing part was we didn't play to our identity. We just didn't. And I talked before the game about the turnovers. We had, we had 10, or 11 in the first half, and you give up 23 points at this point in time. You can't win like that. It's hard. And then I thought the recognition of how they were guarding and what they were doing, and not that they necessarily changed a lot. I mean, they had basically the last two games had put Bam on Josh, so it's not something that we hadn't seen before. And the first time we played them, they did that. The second time, they kind of switched up matchups, put Bam on Modest, which is fine. But just have the awareness of just like how they're guarding, what they're doing. And I think that we had this mentality of just, we didn't work the game. Didn't read the game well enough. And I'm hopeful for some of our guys that this can be a real good growth opportunity. And it's unfortunate because, I thought with the not confusion, but with all the uncertainty at the trade deadline and then getting the team together, the group really did a great job from the trade deadline on. You know what I mean? And you just, when you lose a game, you don't want to lose where, to your point, you're not playing to your identity how you want to. That was the disappointing part. But I appreciate the way these guys tried to come together and the way they worked all year long. Just wish it would have been a better game for us the way we played. And give Miami credit. They played well and did the things they needed to do in the game.
Billy, it appeared that Spoelstra came in looking to expose every flaw that he saw from you guys on film, and they were able to execute that. Did you get that sense that, they were going at Josh, they were making Coby work on defense, they were slowing the pace and controlling the pace? Everything they wanted to do, especially that first quarter, they exposed for you guys.
I think the biggest challenge for us in the game, and Spo's probably better off to answer that. I don't like in the game in terms of the things that they've done, like Hero, last time we played here, he had a really, really bad shooting night in those areas of the floor that he shot great tonight on, quite honestly. Like the difference in the game last time we played them, not only did we score more transition points, but we outshot them in some of the non-paint too and took drastically fewer numbers. I thought our issue was whether it was Mitchell, whether it was Hero, whether it was Wiggins, we could not control the ball at all. So I don't think it was necessarily Coby or Josh. It was everybody. We had a really hard time maintaining the ball in the coverage and in the pick and rolls.
And then I've asked you this question a couple times throughout the year in different instances, but at the same time, you guys have built this team. There's no all-star. There's guys that potentially could be all-stars, but potential is,
right.
It's just hope. Miami has an all-star in Hero. The all-star came to play in a game like this. Until you guys get to that level, don't you have one hand tied behind your back until this organization can figure out how do we get that all-star, how do we get that dude?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, one of the things I think has changed a little bit over the course of the NBA was it was quote-unquote you have to have three guys.
Right.
But I think what's happened now is because of the pace of the game and the speed of the game, sometimes having three guys like that financially doesn't allow you to kind of build out your team.
Right.
To your point, absolutely. You look at any great team, they have a guy that's really, really elite. You know what I mean? And you can go, and I mean, and a lot of times it's, in the backcourt, Brunson's obviously been great in New York. Shea's been great in Oklahoma City. Van Fleet's really helped. You can go, Curry, you can kind of go down the list. And I'm not saying he needs to be a backcourt player, but I think Coby made a really, really good jump wherever he gets to. I don't know. Josh made a good jump as well. But to your point, the guys that you're talking about, that is. And I'm sure those will be all things that the front office will take a look at as they go into the draft and into, free agency and all those things. So I don't disagree with you because that's kind of been the case. I just think what's changed maybe is it used to be the number of guys you needed. But, I think now, you have to kind of build out a whole entire team, but clearly you need a really, really good player. But I was encouraged to see the jump that Coby and Josh made, and the jump that Modest made. Are they there, right now? No, but certainly Coby's inching closer and closer to that, in my opinion, with the way he's played.
Obviously, it's a long game, but these kind of games, postseason, that you want to put your impact, team wants to put their impact on the game. And it seemed like Miami, they drove the ball the first 5 times. Didn't pull up a shot. They just drove it back and kind of seemed to put you on your heels. And I know it's the first couple of minutes of the game, but it seemed like from that point on, early on, you guys were just reacting to what they were doing. What did you see?
I agree with you. I think that our inability to control the basketball at the point of the screen, and then the fact that there was a couple of opportunities for us to put bodies in plays and go vertical at the rim, and we jumped to the side and tried to block shots and gave them angles there, coupled with the fact that, you turn the ball over, struggle offensively, not making shots, and then all of a sudden, to your point, it was everybody. I think Joe had mentioned, whoever it was. It was every single guy for them. We were unable to contain the basketball. We went boxing 1 against Hero. We ended up playing zone. We just needed to be better controlling the ball at the point of the screen, and we really had a hard time tonight doing that. But I do agree. Anytime someone's driving the ball like that, yes, there's going to be challenges.
What you were always saying leading up to this is these games change in the sense that they're going to be more physical than you see during the regular season. Did you feel that you were ready for that?
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily more physical. I didn't feel that way from the bench. I didn't feel that way. I thought, like I said, I think our turnovers, the kind of offense that we generated hadn't been what we had been generating, identity-wise. I didn't think the officials let a bunch of stuff go, and it was just hand-to-hand combat. I just didn't feel that way. They came out, I think, to what Joe mentioned, and executed way better than we did. And they deserved the game with the way they played. All the way around. But I didn't feel it was like a different kind of game for our guys. Now I do think probably have to speak to them on being in this situation where you're playing in an elimination game, how they felt about that. But I thought we had 2 good days leading into it. I think we kind of got out of character of how we have played for a pretty long stretch. And give them some credit because they probably did some of that to us, and some of it we just got to have a better awareness of situations that led to some of that.
Really, just looking at the season on the whole.
I'm sorry?
Just on the season on the whole for Josh, obviously kind of a divisive player, really improved over the course of the season, obviously able to put up some big numbers, but also at times, to Joe's point, able to kind of pick on him defensively. I'm just curious, how you evaluate his growth over the course of the season and where he got to. Obviously, there's a big decision coming up for his free agency this summer.
Yeah, I think Josh, and I think you want this for every player that you work with, is to show progress and growth and improvement. And I think that you can honestly say that. Outside of we didn't coach well enough, play well enough, everything was not good enough today to win the game. So I'm just trying to look at the totality of what you're talking about. I think he's made drastic improvements. I think he's gotten a lot better. I think that I think there's ways that he can still grow in terms of manipulating the basketball game with his IQ, because he's guarded specifically in different ways, and I think there's ways that he can manipulate those things to generate good outcomes for himself and for other guys. But overall, from where he started to where he was today, I thought he really made really, really good progress over the course of the season.
Billy, you mentioned really enjoying coaching this group. What do you tell them now that the season comes to an abrupt end?
I never really like talking about it after a game like this. I'll get together with those guys tomorrow and talk more about that. I think it's always, at least I'm only speaking for myself, I can speak to them. I just didn't feel that, we played how we've been playing identity-wise. To your question, that's why it hurts so much for me, because, when you're with these guys every single day, they've been incredible all the way through. And I know every NBA team over 82 games goes through some kind of stuff. There's always stuff that you're going to go through. And sometimes the stuff can tear you apart and break you down and not allow you. I really appreciate the way they've tried to stick together, the way they tried to play the game to an identity of how we tried to play. their unselfishness, the way they tried to work with each other. It was very, very rewarding for me. The result tonight was not, but the everyday going to work with these guys was incredibly rewarding for me.
Really, in terms of Josh, how far off do you feel like he is on the defensive end of the ball, especially kind of looking at how that first half went? That was kind of the worst case scenario for him in terms of some of those defensive matchups.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me in that situation because, there's going to be breakdowns at the point of screens, right? We're not talking about the fact that our low man is not protecting the rim and there's no sign of anybody there. That's not all on Josh or Coby or the perimeter. And vice versa, sometimes you got to be able to manage and control the ball a little bit at the point of screen so you don't have to come over there. I just thought that Hero off the dribble got wherever he wanted to. Mitchell got wherever he wanted to. Wiggins got wherever he wanted to. They all got where they wanted to. And we need to be better collectively in that area. Now, going back to starting training camp, I mentioned we have some challenges defensively, and those things are not going to get resolved. I didn't think we played good enough team defense. And I don't want to take away anything from Miami because they had a lot to do with it, and they played a really, really good game, so give them credit. But I'm looking at it through where we needed to be better in order to play better. We needed to be much better at the point of the screen, but that was for everybody.
Do you feel like that's something that the front office needs to address this offseason in terms of just there being more defensive kind of firepower on this roster?
Yeah, it's hard for me right now when the season ends. They've always been great about including me in on stuff, and they've always tried to just give me space, with all the games that are coming, just to coach and to focus on the guys. And we talk about the team and the guys, but there'll be a time for all that stuff, where we'll all sit down at some point and talk. Generally, they like everybody kind of decompressing for a couple weeks and then kind of regathering to talk about it. So, we'll see. I mean, I think we were better defensively than what we showed tonight. I definitely feel that. I feel like our guys made some strengths, some growth, and not that we were this stellar defensive team, but I felt like we got better, and the numbers showed that over the course of the year.
The just disappointing loss, particularly the way you guys started the game. What do you think kind of went into that slow start at both ends?
Yeah, I mean a number of things. And I thought we came out with the wrong mindset, and credit to them, they did an awesome job. Getting back, it was hard. I don't think we got out of transition enough tonight, and that's kind of where we hang our hats. So, I thought a lot of it was them. They dictated terms, from pretty early on in that game, and we just didn't respond the way we needed to. We dug ourselves a deep hole, and I thought the third quarter we showed some fight. We showed some life. The crowd got back into it. We just couldn't get it back to single digits, and we dug ourselves a deep hole, and it was tough to get out of. But credit to the guys, we didn't throw the towel in all through that game. Would have been easy to down 20-25, but we stuck with it and try to give ourselves a chance, but we just didn't do enough right tonight, and credit to them, they were a good team, and they played the right way.
When you say you didn't come out in the right mindset, what does that mean to you?
I mean, I just think we came out, we beat these guys 3 times this year. We probably had that at the front of our mind, which is we've beat them already, we know what to do, we can do it, and we just didn't. They punched us first, we didn't respond the way we had to, and as I said, credit to Miami, they're well coached, they're a good team, they've been in this position before, as of some of our guys here, so we obviously knew what was at stake tonight, win a go home game, and we just didn't come out with the right mentality, the right mindset, and that's what happens. You lose, and your season's over just like that. So it's a sour way to end it. We thought we were much better than the way we played tonight. We've shown that we can compete with anybody in this league, and tonight just was one of them nights. We couldn't get it going. They did, and it's a tough way to end it.
How big of a disappointment is this for you and this team at this point?
It's big. I mean, you never want to lose, but especially in a game like this where it is do or die, and you have to win to keep moving on. And we wanted to give ourselves another chance to make the playoffs in Atlanta on Friday night. But, I mean, as I said, this was just one of them nights. We couldn't get it going. They dictated a lot of what the game looked like from the jump, and we just didn't respond the way we needed to. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough way to end it. No one ever wants to end their season this way. And, we'll go back, get ready. Guys will have big summers. We'll come back next year ready to go.
How do you look at your year?
I mean, up and down, I thought it started slow, and I just try to – I mean, as I said, I've said it before, but I came in, it's a new situation, and I never wanted to come in and step on any toes, so I tried my best to fit in how I could, and I think, obviously when the deadline happened, I think roll opened up a little bit more, so I was able to, play freely, so there's a number of things, and it wasn't just me, it was us as a group. We started getting it rolling after the All-Star break, and we found ways to win games, and we stuck with that formula, and, I thought us as a whole, did a great job in the back half of the year in particular, just finding ways to win games, competing, and it wasn't always pretty. It wasn't always the way we planned, but just grinding out wins, I thought was something we started to do at the back end of the year. So for me personally, up and down, but us as a group, I thought we trended the right way all year. We responded the way we needed to at the back end, and it's positive signs, and it's a good way to go into the summer. Obviously, this isn't the game we wanted tonight, but in terms of the way we finished the year, I'm proud of this group, and I think there's a lot of good things to take going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
With the same way. It's got to be good. They got to learn from it. Got to come into the summer knowing that we can't keep putting ourselves in this position.
What do you think contributes to your guys' slow start offensively and defensively?
I think they just came out more physical team, more disciplined team, played more to their identity than we did. And then, obviously, in a game like that, if you get down because of the pace, they don't call fouls like they normally do. A lot can contribute to it. The game being a slower pace, and that doesn't work in our favor.
You and Vooch have been the constants for the last 3 years with all of these. Does this one hurt more because it felt like you guys had gotten over the hump and there was a different philosophy, and the success during the regular season against them kind of showed that this new style might work against them? Is this one kind of a bigger gut punch than the previous two?
No, they all hurt. They all hurt because their season over with. No matter where you was at with it, they all hurt the same. Your season over with, we're done. So it ain't like, one don't mean more than the other one. They both meet this high stakes game, and this the third year we done lost to them. So yeah.
What made that first several minutes difficult for you guys?
Like I said, the physicality that came with, they got some easy buckets. Obviously, Tyler Hill had a big game, but he got some easy ones to go. At the beginning of the game, when you got a score like that, you see it go in the hole, especially layups and stuff like that. He obviously had a big game. They carry over. They mean a lot to a big score. So we just, didn't complete the game plan. We didn't really have game plan discipline. We thought, because, the team, we beat them in the regular season. We thought if we just do what we normally do, then, we'll be good. But obviously, like you said, they got guys that's been to the finals. They got guys that's, knows what it takes. They got a head coach who, is one of the best head coaches in the league. So they came in, and they was a better team tonight.
Coby, do you feel like this experience did anything for this locker room? Joe mentioned you and Vooch, so you got some other guys who haven't been a part of this. You feel like this playing experience did anything for the guys who haven't been?
Yeah. No matter what it looked like in the regular season, you can lose to anybody in this league. It don't matter. I think it was a good experience for the young guys, and I think they felt it too. But we just got to come ready in the summer. We got to start preventing this, and we got to learn from it and not put ourselves in this situation.
Billy talked about the different roles that guys are now cast in. Did you feel any difference tonight playing in your first postseason game like this without Zach, without Jamal, those guys?
No, I mean, the same thing. I think last year, I was the same, kind of the same role. But no, I mean, I ain't feel no different. Obviously, they game plan for me, whatever it may be, but I ain't feel really no different.
You're not a guy that's kind of ever asked for help or anything, but at the same time, Tyler here are all-star. I mean, all the teams in the playoffs that are left have that dude, have that all-star. And you and Josh, one of you guys might become that, but at the same time, do you need some help from the organization to add more pieces or to add some kind of help to get you guys over the hump?
No, I don't really look at it that way. I think we got a good team, we got good guys. It just wasn't our night tonight. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, we just got to learn from it, and whatever it may be, whatever that look like, continue to get better, continue to be us, and then learn from it. And next year, don't put ourselves in a situation.
Thanks.